Hello, everyone. So we are live again on YouTube. My name is Sergey, and I decided to start this series of podcasts with people who do interesting projects all over the world. And today, my guest is Olena Skyrta, partner and co-founder of InScience Organization. Hello, Olena.
Hi, Sergey. Thank you for inviting me to your podcast. I'm happy to be your second guest.
I think it's fourth guest, but honestly, you are second woman, who is part of this podcast. I know that it's important that you coordinate women around scientific endeavors. Will you tell briefly about the organization you founded and run?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm partner of the InScience Organization, and actually we are women-led NGO which promotes science and increases its value for society. And speaking about women role, we have the project Women in Science in Ukrainian naukovacy. It's a series of documentary video which you can watch on our YouTube in Science. There are two stories of scientists. Olena Pernyuk, she's a radiobiologist, and Katerina Shavanova, she works as an R&D, as a head of R&D in the agro company Kernel. It's our second series of video, Women in Science, and we also had their first one, and you can also check it. Actually, for us, it's really important to share the stories about women in science, about actually share the stories of people, and also about women in science, because during our work at InScience Organization, we understood that and saw that women are less give the interviews less. So
why?
I think the question is not for me, for people who are not inviting women to their podcasts and interviews. But there are actually researchers in Ukrainian media field that say that, I don't remember the exact numbers, but that say that women are significantly less give the interviews as an experts in media field. So
really, is this something relevant to Ukraine, or is this happening in other countries as well?
I think it is different to different countries, but we did the research in Ukrainian media field, and we saw it. Actually, I could share the link of the research. Yeah, that is it. And
Sure,
so that's why we need to share more role models of their women women who work as scientists, who work as CEOs in tech companies, to promote that it's okay actually to work in these fields, and nothing unusual happens if the woman will be successful in science.
How it all started and when?
Yeah, actually, our work is not only about women in science and Project Naukovacy. I would step back and tell a bit more, I think, about in science. Now we are working on a few projects which are important for us and which represent what we want to share with our audiences. When the big war started, we stopped all our work and we transformed all our all our projects. So we were planning the video to do a video about women in science, no COVID, but it transformed to the series of documentary videos about women in science during the big war. And when you watch this video, you can actually understand in what how scientists worked during this period. And for me, absolutely inspiring is the story of Katerina Shavanova, who tells how they coped with mining and with mines on the fields, and how they continued to work on the fields as agronomists. Because one day she says that, okay, one day you have battle, rockets, and so on. You feel like it's the last day of the life, but the other day, people from the agro company are going to fields and continue to work. And that was really inspiring for me. And the second story is about Olena Skyrta, who is a radiobiologist, and she works also in Chernobyl, and her research is related to Chernobyl. And we also see that how her work changed because of big war. And also we started the project. We transformed actually our project for kids. We have science popular program for kids now, Science for Kids. We started it as a way to support children, to give them a cultural to help them to stay in cultural community of Ukrainians, of Ukrainian education, because they moved to other countries and or to other cities, and it was challenging for them. And our program supported them with the community, and we see that now they are really active in community online. They are chatting, discussing some scientific topics, and that is absolutely also as inspiring and amazing for me to see how it worked with them. Moreover, one of their mothers of their one girl who visits our program said that it really supported her daughter during their all this period when they moved to other city, to other country, and so on. So we had this project Science Popular Program for Kids before in 2019 and 12 here, but now during at the start of big war we were thinking what will help our audience in a most effective way, and we restarted this program. Also, we started to work on the health topics, but not actually started, but also continued to work on the health topics. We launched the platform for evidence-based health information in times of war. It's the project which has name Take Care, or in Ukrainian Бережи себе, because in Ukraine we tell each other that take care of yourself, and we thought that it's really it's also important to support your physical and mental health, because at the end it also will help you to win, and which is very I think unusual and surprising, but we are launching the Science Popular Conference with global speakers, with exhibition of science of deep tech startups and inventions from scientists. Yeah, and we will do it in at the I think first days of June. Now we are working on all details before launching, because it's the first time where I am sharing this, because we didn't launch yet, but I thought that I would like to share it. Briefly speaking, we asked ourselves how with the projects that we worked on, we can help in the most effective way at InScience to our audience, and changed everything. At the end of this transformation, we grew as a team, we grew in projects, in our impact that we share with our audiences, and that was good thing about as a result of the big war.
Could you give us more context about your audience? Are these women who live in Ukraine, or you mentioned people who moved away to other countries? Can we say that now you're sort of globally oriented?
Yeah, actually, it's a good question about the audience, because InScience works for different audience. We work for general audience of Ukrainians who are taking care of their health. It's really everyone who has health and who thinks about their health. Also, we had one more project for women, preferentiation project for women, also with UN Women, one of our partners. The audience in this project was women in Ukraine and women who went abroad. In Science for Kids, we have their audience children and their parents who are in Ukraine and who also went abroad. And now, at the beginning of the big war, we understood that Ukrainians not traveled a lot, but they had to travel a lot, but many of this of Ukrainians when came back to Ukraine. We don't have, frankly speaking, we don't have such a statistic how many of our audience came back. At Science for Kids, we have this that, as I remember, about 30% are not in Ukraine, but it's not so much as I think.
It's interesting to ask a question.
Yeah.
Go ahead, sorry.
No, it's okay. Actually, I would like to add that in every project we have the targeted audience, and we have like the core audience for InScience, and we have like general audience for whom we communicate also. So it's not so easy to answer it for this question in one sentence.
I wanted to ask a question about international relations. You mentioned UN Women. What is the role of, let's say, English content and international communication in your projects? I know that you invite speakers from other countries, but generally speaking, how do you interact with people and institutions in other countries?
First of all, we have partners which are international funds, and mostly partners from businesses. They could be Ukrainian companies, but they are international companies, like technological international companies like SoftServe, Alex, Macpo, Grammarly. They work worldwide, and okay, they have Ukrainian roots, but they work internationally too, as a squad, and many others. For some project as a preferentiation program for women, we had mentors also from abroad who helped women to to actually pass the transition period, go into IT companies and so on. Now with the project Women in Science, we are going, we actually started this process to apply for international festivals, cinema festivals, and we want to share the stories of our women in science abroad. And today, for example, it's actually, I could say that it's unusual, but once in a while we have such stories, like there one woman, Christina, I'm sorry, I will read her. Christina Wydoinik. She is she lives in sorry. She lives in Copenhagen. Mm-hmm. And she's a wife of the ambassador of Ukraine in Denmark, and she asked us to share the stories of women in science. We had a call like 30 minutes ago, and she wanted also to share this video during her speech to the 8th of March in Copenhagen, and we will share it with her, and she will communicate these stories to the audience of some funds, businesses in Denmark, and so on. So, and I had actually a talk in Vilnius a week ago during their One Acceleration program in Vilnius from the Vilnius University. So I would say that we communicate with international partners, not a lot, but more than we had before. And we understand that with our products, such as Women in Science, because it's like video with English subtitles, which you can share everywhere, you can also tell the Ukrainian story. That what.
Can I ask you a question about the mission? Do you want more women to join the scientific area and engage in scientific exploration? Or is this about people who need to consume more scientific content, like to add more science to their real-day lives, or both?
Okay, if you speak about InScience Organization, we want to increase value of science in lives of ordinary people.
Everyday life.
Yeah, if we speak about the project of Women in Science, we want women have more role models and enter universities at STEM, go and work as scientists, as tech leaders in future, or actually have.
Can I ask you a personal question?
Yeah, absolutely.
Why do you care? Why do you think it's important?
There is a long story and short story. Short story could be like this. Actually, it's just normal thing that if there are women, there are men, they all have equal opportunities to work and be successful as they want. And I truly believe in that. And that is a long story that I wanted to be a biotechnologist, and I entered the Lyceum of Kyiv Polytechnicum Lyceum and to the faculty of biology and biological and ecological faculty. And I volunteered and went to practice and tried to do some science in the lab. And I understood that you cannot do some science in the lab during winter, because is too cold in the lab in Kyiv Polytechnicum Institute University, because the Lyceum was in the university. Yeah, and it was actually some kind of disappointing moment, because as a kid I was dreaming about it, and my family, I don't know, they were I think they didn't try to share the stories of some scientists, but what one of our friends was professor of biotechnology, and as just one ordinary dinner he said, what is biotechnology? This is science of future. And I was thinking, wow, it's science of future. You can do whatever you want, some medicine and so on. And then you come to the same and to the lab, and
it's cold.
Yeah, and nothing works there because it's too cold. Yeah, and at that
you
moment,
decided to fix it.
Actually, at that moment, I decided that I will apply for journalism, and I am and I went to other university and became the journalist and worked as a journalist, and I really appreciate this work. But at one moment, I decided to organize the TEDx conference and invite one scientist to give a speech, and we were unsuccessful in that mission, because that scientist communicated too difficult, too complicated for the audience, and we just couldn't invite him to give a speech. And at that moment, I understood that maybe I could do a science popular conference. Like, I didn't think as a science popular conference. I was thinking like conference with only scientists, how that will work. And after that, I understood that you cannot do like TEDx science, so you need to do your own brand. And that's why I started my own organization. It was my previous organization, and it was actually the first science popular conference for general audience, for big audience in Ukraine. And that was really surprising also for me, because I was thinking that worldwide it's actually quite a common thing in like science popular festivals, conferences, events, and in Ukraine at that time we had more science popular events, but the audience was more scientists themselves, and that is also good. But I truly believe that we need to engage more general audience to scientific topics, because it has an influence on their lives. So this is how it started. And after that, I met during the organization of my previous conference at previous organization, I met my partner, Anya Orechova, and she also used to be a journalist. And at that point, we decided to unite and do InScience organization, which will be big. And I think that that collaboration worked good, because we started 5 years ago.
I understand the next question might be quite comprehensive and difficult, but could you maybe briefly describe what needs to be fixed in science in Ukraine?
Wow, that's not the short question.
Except the gender equality, maybe top 3 things
that should be fixed in science in Ukraine. Okay.
Except gender equality.
But actually, if we fix something, it could influence the general quality and so on. I need to think about this. First, I think that it could be easy thing, but if all the scientists in Ukraine will know English better.
Wow, really?
Yes, it's actually it's not only about scientists, but it's about Ukrainians. If you will check the statistic, how many Ukrainians know English, you will be surprised that not really well. But and science is a really collaborative thing.
Oh.
I watched the video of the editor of Nature yesterday, and she gave the examples how the article will how one scientific article has like more than 100 people co-authors, and you cannot understand which person did which part. But that's the other question. But science is very collaborative, and you should collaborate. You should have soft skills, and maybe what could help is more for scientists, visit more conferences. I mean scientific conferences. Go there and find partners, and don't be afraid, and write to international partners, international scientists, people that you know that could, with whom you could collaborate, and just write your scientific researches together. There are also the researchers that tell us that some researchers which are scientists who are doing the researches in collaborations just do it more successful, and these researchers have a higher impact. And actually, that is what we want from science, to have the impact on the lives. So the second is collaboration, more partnerships, and so on. Actually, because of the big war, many scientists, as I know, about 50%, but I could be wrong. I don't know their official data. I think there is no official data, frankly speaking, but maybe someone has this official data. About 50% of scientists went abroad, and they are working like somewhere in Asia, Europe, USA, Canada, and so on. And from our one hand, that is challenging, because it could be brain drain. They could go there and don't come back. But this is also good for science generally worldwide, that they actually continue to work as scientists, and that could be good, but because they could make partnerships with Ukrainian scientists, and if they come back, that would be great, because they would have the experience working in international institutions, better English, better communication skills, and they could continue to work and build their partnerships worldwide. It's optimistic point of view. Pessimistic point of view is we know the pessimistic point of view, but we will see what we have. I think that there are too many influences on will they come back or will they not. Personally, I think that we should build more programs for these scientists for them to come back and have the opportunity to work in Ukraine. Now, if you are a scientist and work in Ukraine, if you don't, as I know, you don't have their opportunity, you have really a little salary, and the National Fund of Science for now, as I know, doesn't have financing, because at the start of big war, government took their money for army, and we understand that. The question is that what we will have as a result. This could be sad, but we will see what we will have at the end.
Got it. Olena, I
Yeah,
suggest
it was actually two things, but maybe the third thing, more programs for Ukrainian scientists to work in Ukraine and to have finance, and maybe to work in collaboration with international scientists. And I think these things could really help.
Got it. Olena, I suggest we invite more people to participate in science activities. So name maybe some ways to stay in touch with you. Are you active on Facebook or?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm active on Facebook. I'm active, I think, everywhere. You can add me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, or wherever you want. Signal too.
Maybe if we mention maybe the next week or next couple of weeks or maybe next month, what are the main projects that people might participate in as volunteers or part-time or full-time members?
Actually, I could share that if you have children or who are interested in our project Science for Kids, you can visit our program because it's open and you can just share it with your children. I think they will love it. It's first thing. Second, you can watch Women in Science on YouTube. You can share the video about women in science. We in 8 days we will have 8th of March. I didn't understand will we celebrate it or not. Personally, I think that it's good. It could be good as a day of reminding that women and men are equal. And you can share the video of Women in Science. Also, we are looking for a team member, project manager. For now, we are not looking for volunteers, but I think in May and June, we will look for volunteers to the conference. And you also can support us as a company to the conference and to the project Science for Kids. And at Science for Kids, we also launched the Patreon. Our team member, Polina Limina, who is project manager, she pushed us to launch the Patreon. And now we have a Patreon for one project, Science for Kids. So you can donate and help us to continue our work for children. So I think that's it.
I think we'll provide all those links in the comment.
Yeah, lots of links after our talk.
Yeah, cool. Okay, and to wrap up the conversation, is there anything I should have asked or you wanted to mention as the part of this stream?
Actually, I was in Vilnius previous week, and I was surprised how Vilnius supports Ukraine and how they launched the acceleration program for Rebuild Ukraine, and Ukrainian and Lithuanian teams are building some projects to help Ukraine to rebuild. It's actually young entrepreneurs, but they could make some difference. I would add that everyone can ask themselves what they can do to help Ukraine to win, because actually I think that is the main question now, to help Ukraine win faster. And maybe with your work, you could also do something. At the end of Big War, we transformed all our work and to help Ukrainians feel better, work better, and help Ukraine to win faster. So my message would be that everyone should think of this, because it's kind of our mission for now, our main mission for now.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Olena. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
sharing this. Let's add this information in the comment section for people to be able to follow up. And good luck with all your initiatives.